Here is the HafTorah for this week's Torah reading. This week's Torah reading is Parshat Emor, and the HafTorah, it talks about the Cohanim. It opens up talking about the Cohanim, the priests, and the service of the priests. And we have a HafTorah from Ezekiel, Yechezkel, the prophet Yechezkel, chapter Mem Gimel, chapter 43. The book of Yechezkel. Yechezkel, of course, was a prophet of the Jewish people, very troubled times near the end of the first temple, before the destruction of the first temple. So the Jewish people, on one hand, were in pretty bad shape in that time, but on the other hand, God made some pretty amazing promises to them. So there's questions about exactly what this prophecy is dealing with. It talks about the Cohanim, and there's some very strange laws that are involved in this week's, that you'll see here, that really sort of don't really apply to the Cohanim. They're not really, and we'll see what these laws are. Some explain all these sentences are talking about the first temple, that we just have to understand properly, and that Rashi comes to explain all these sentences in a proper way. Others say that it refers to the second temple, which had, of course, not had been built. This is right before the destruction of the first temple. And the second temple, when the second temple would be built, as he was telling us what's going to be. Some people say that it's talking about the third temple. Some people say that it's talking about all of them together. The destruction, the commentary doesn't, it's not contradictory, and it's just looking at the same exact thing from all the different angles. So if the Jews would have repented, so the first temple, that would have been the final temple. So it would have been the third temple, would have been the final temple. So we can say that it applies to all of them. But nevertheless, however it goes, this is a prophecy from Ezekiel. Now, Ezekiel did not say this. This is God that's saying this, and he said it through Yechezkel. But nevertheless, he said it through Yechezkel, and he said it through Yechezkel's personality. So Yechezkel could express the ideas. The exact ideas came through him according to who he was. The only one that spoke exactly, precisely the words of God was Moses. Exactly, every letter was exact. But here on the other prophets, all the ideas were, and the words also, but sometimes there could be little nuances were changed. Moses was the only one that got precise, even every letter was very exact. And the others weren't as exact. Okay, let's go. Here we go. Okay, Yechezkel is coming in the time of the first temple. So there was a lot of idolatry. Jews like idolatry for some strange reason. Jews like idolatry. I don't think it's really so strange, because Jews are alive and everything that's in the world is inside of the Jews. And the Jews are lively people. So, to some people, it just doesn't appeal to them to do the right thing all the time. And especially seeing as doing the wrong thing is fun. It's fun to do. I think, excuse me one second. Opening up the pants here, excuse me. That's not part of the class. A second. Just turning out the air conditioner. It's hot here in Israel. Okay, not like yesterday. Yesterday was like 95 or something. But here we go. Now we're starting the class. Says Ezekiel the prophet, says Ezekiel, V'kohanim haleviim b'nei tzadok asher shamu es mishmer es mikdashi b'so'os b'nei Yisrael mi'alai Emor yikruvu elai l'sharseini. How do I know how to sing this? Because see these little things over here. Look here. Is this being recorded? Yeah. Wait a minute. There we go. See these little notes here, these signs? Those are cantillation notes. Every group sing. The Ashkenazim have a general way of singing, and the Sephardim, they have also a little bit different. The Yemenites also have a different way. And there's also the differences also between the Moroccans and the Moroccan Jews and the Tunisian Jews and the Iraqi Jews. It's all beautiful. All of it is beautiful. Well, I'm singing the way the Ashkenazic Jews sing. So that's HaKohanim v'Levim b'nei Tzadok asher shomru es mishmer es mikdashi bisois b'nei Yisrael me'alai Emor Savir Yikrovu elai l'sharseini v'amdu lefanai. That's Revi. L'akriv li chelek v'dam na'um ha'et shem Elokim. Okay, so let's just translate this. We won't sing the whole thing. The Cohanim, the Levim. Now the Cohanim are Levim. They come from the tribe of Levi. And they are the sons of Tzadok. Who is sons of Tzadok? They're not the sons of Tzadok. Tzadok happened to be the name of the first high priest in the first temple. So those Kohanim, Asher Shamrush Mishmeret Mikdashi, that they kept the laws of the holy temple, Bisos Ben Israel, while the Jewish people were making mistakes, they were straying after me, because the Jewish people, they were worshiping idols and making sacrifices to all sorts of bizarre things, not to mention the golden calf. There was they had 2 golden calves in the northern part of Israel. By the time Ezekiel was making this prophecy, the northern part of Israel, the 10 tribes, were already taken away. They're the ones that will serve in the temple to serve me. Like I said, this is either talking about the continuation of the first temple, or the second temple, or the third temple Mashiach is going to build. They will stand in front of me to sacrifice to me the fat and the blood. So says God Elohim, the ruler. But it's punctuated like this, it's Elohim. So Rashi says, who are the Kohanim Levim? That's the Shevet Levi. Rashi. Bnei Tzadok, he was the first Kohen Gadol in the first temple in the days of King Solomon. So therefore all the Kohanim are called on his name. When they strayed after me, the Jews that were straying, these Kohanim that did not stray after me, so they'll be the ones that will serve in the temple. Hema, they will come to my holy temple. Hema, and they yikruvu el shulchanei, and they will come to my table. What does it mean, my table? The holy temple was like God's table, because it says the sacrifices were God's food. Huh? That's what it says. Sacrifices were like God's food. What's this here? 40. Yes. They will come there and they will serve me my food. It says that Metzudat David. They will do all the service for me. This is, he says what it means that my food, this is referring to the bread, lechem apanim. Remember we learned about that in this week's Torah portion. Right in the end of the portion is talking about the face bread and the menorah, exactly how the service, how it was supposed to be done. Okay, so only those Kohanim did not participate at all in the idolatry of the second temple. They will be the ones, when they come to the Shara Chatzera Pinimim, when they come to the gate. Now this is really, it's in plural, but it should only be singular, because only one Kohen could come to the inner gate, which that's where the Holy of Holies is, where the temple. Big day pishtin yilbishu, they should put on garments of linen. And there will not come any wool on their flesh when they come into the inner gate. And that's what he says, he's talking about when they go lifnei bafinim, to serve me in the Holy of Holies. Pa'arei pishtin yu al rosham. They will have like a turban, sort of a turban, whatever it is, on their heads. Yes. 1 minute. That's right. A turban of linen will be on their heads, and clothes, pants of linen will be on their loins, and lo yachkuru b'zeya, and they should not tie it to. It should not. The place where they tie it should not reach to their armpits. In other words, where place where there is sweat. It should not, where one perspires. Should not gird themselves where one sweats. Yes, that's what it means. Good. This is known that the Kohen has to do this. And when they come into the outside courtyard, that is where the altar is, the big altar is where they would sacrifice. This is where the altar is talking about the yes. So he's talking about the altar. He says when the Kohanim go into the inner place, so they have now when they come up to the outer altar. Why does it say 2 times altar? It says it says that when they come to the outer courtyard, into the outer courtyard. It's why twice? It says because it was previously talking about Yom Kippur when the high priest would go into the Holy of Holies. So when he comes out into the outer room, which is just outside of the inner chamber where the tablets were. He comes out from the Holy of Holies into the Holy, which that's where the menorah was and the face bread. Which says that's not enough. Who are we talking about when he comes out to the outer of the outer, to the people? So he takes off these garments, the linen garments, and he puts them in a special place, and he puts on other garments. V'lo yikadshu eta'am b'bigdayim, but he should not mingle with the people. Lo yikadshu, he should not mingle with the people when he is in these garments. What does it mean? Lo yitarvu, he should not mix in with the people in their garments. In other words, don't touch the people in their, when he's wearing these holy garments, because the garments that they are wearing might make him she'ein bigdei chul tahorim ela bigdei hakodesh. But because even though the garments that everybody wore were not defiled, but they were in comparison to holy garments, they should not be. V'rosham lo yigalechu ufera lo yishalechu, and their heads they should not shave. They should not shave their heads, but also should not grow their hair wild. Then there's more than 30 days. Don't let it grow. Chasum yichsamu et rosheim. Their hair should rather be trimmed. What does it mean, trimmed? It says they shouldn't. Yes, it says it means that they should get their hair cut at least once every 30 days, and that it should not grow wild. The hair should not be allowed to grow wild. Yes. Okay, good. Wine they should not drink. Any Kohen when he comes into the inner courtyard. Now the fact of the matter is any Kohen should not allow to drink wine at any time, even when he's coming into the Kohen. So what does it mean, Rashi? It says El Tahechel, that's what he means. And anywhere in the Holy Temple, Kohen is not allowed to drink wine. Anywhere in the whole entire. The fact of the matter is that all Cohanim should not drink wine, even in the time when they're not in the temple, because they could be called at any time. It says for sure those who go to serve should not. An almana v'gerusha, a widow or a divorcee, a divorced woman, they cannot marry for women. Now the fact is, as a regular Kohen can get married to a regular woman, he can also get married. I'm sorry, he can get married to a widow. A regular Kohen cannot get married to a divorced woman, but he can get married to a widow. So what is this talking about? We'll see in a moment. Ki im betula mizera Beit Yisrael, only a virgin from a Jewish virgin, or a widow that came from a Kohen, in other words, that was previously married to a Kohen, they can get married. Now, what is that talking about? This is not a law anywhere in the books, that a Kohen can only marry a widow from another Kohen. A Kohen, if it's a regular Kohen, can get married to any Jewish widow, unless she's been divorced, and anybody cannot marry any divorced woman. The great Kohen, the high Kohen, he cannot get married to any widow at all. So even if she comes from a Kohen, so what's it talking about? Says Rashi, first of all, what it says that he has to get married to only a virgin. This is talking about the high priest. The high priest, but the others can. And it says he can take a widow. He says that the Gemara says that he can get married to any widow at all, except for a widow that had been divorced previously, or even a chalutza. A chalutza means a woman who was married and her husband passed away, but he didn't have any children. And she now has to get married to his brother. And if she doesn't want to get married to his brother, so she has to do a thing called chalutza, or if he doesn't want to marry her, so he has to do a thing called chalutza. And chalutza is something like divorce. There's a whole process with a shoe, and that's something like divorce. And he also can't, a regular priest cannot marry a chalutza anyway. He can't marry her. At Ami Yaru, that my people he should teach. What is the difference between holy and unholy? What is impure and what is pure? He should make everyone know. The Cohanim, they had the job of educating the people, or to see to it that they had educators, right? To spread the teaching around. That was the job of the Cohanim. Also, when they weren't working in the Holy Temple, they were devoted totally to keeping the people as holy as possible. So they had to be very expert in all of the laws as well. Any arguments, they will judge. Mishpatai, my judgments, and my Torah and my laws with every holiday they will keep. That Shabbos Yadishu, and they also have to make my Shabbos holy. Well, that refers to every Jew, not only Kohanim. Isn't that so? So he says, no, what it means is that they have to teach everyone. They have to teach everyone before the holidays, all the laws of the holidays, and Shabbat. They have to keep what they have to admonish the people and teach the people that they should keep Shabbat and all the laws of how to keep Shabbat. That was the job of the Kohanim. A dead person they should not come near to be defiled, except for their father and their mother, and a son, and a daughter, and a brother, and a sister. A sister that did not get married to anyone, they should be, they can't defile themselves. Now, this is only talking about a regular priest. Now it's jumping to a regular priest, because the high priest cannot even defile himself for any of these people at all. Can't defile himself for any of these people. What about his wife? It says, Acharei tarato shivat yamim yisprolo. And after they become pure, in other words, they have to get sprinkled with the ashes of the red cow. So he's saying, in addition to their wife, they can also get defile themselves for a dead body for these other people as well, for their father, mother, brother, sister, son, and daughter, and their wife. This is a regular priest, but a high priest can never defile himself. He's not allowed to. Unless it's a mace mitzvah, unless it's a dead body that there's no one to bury, then even the Kohen Gadol, he can defile himself. And the day that they come into the temple to work, and there was the first day to the inner room, in other words, to serve in the holy, they should make sacrifices. What's the sacrifices? Says God. What sacrifices? This is talking about the first day, the tchila, the first day that they come to serve. They have to make special sacrifices, and he explains what they are. It says 1/10 of a unit of meal of. That's what it says in the Gemara Baba Kama. It explains exactly what all these mysterious sort of words mean. Yes. And this will be their portion. I am their portion. But they shouldn't have any land in Israel. They haven't got any portion because I am their portion. That's I will provide for them, the Cohanim, and also the fact is the Levites also, but the Levites, they had 48 cities, but the Cohanim didn't have any cities, and God said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of them. They'll be my portion. Mincha v'achatat v'asham, all these different offerings, a meal offering, a sin offering, an asham offering, they will eat. These are offerings which are not like an ola. And all chirim b'Yisrael, and all of the, sanctified of the Jewish people want to give charity to them, and there will be every person's chirim, says anything that was mekadesh will belong to them. Yes, belong to them. Oh, last sentence. For Reshit Kol Bikurei. So this is the last sentence. Give me a moment. Give me one moment here. Excuse me. Yeah, one more sentence. Okay. The first of all of the flax and of the first fruits of everything, the first of the crops and everything, and all of the truma, a portion of the produce, will all go to the Kohanim. And the Reshis Ariso says chem, in the beginning of like the dough and things like that the breads that you make, also to the Kohen, and this will bring a blessing to your home. If you give this to the Kohen, then you will be blessed. They get the first of everything. They also, the Kohanim in general, they are the first ones to make blessings. They're the first ones to get called up to the Torah. And finally, the last sentence is every nevela and treifa they will not eat. They should not eat any impure animals not slaughtered properly. They're not allowed to eat the Kohanim. Well, that doesn't make any sense because no one is allowed to eat it. No Jews are allowed. From the bird or from the animals, they are not allowed to eat. The Kohanim are not allowed to eat these things. What is that? I mean, that refers to everybody, doesn't it? Let's look at the Malbim. The rabbis already said because malika is permissible. In the Holy Temple, there was a thing called malika. When they would make a bird offering, when someone would make a bird offering, so in the temple, the way that it would be made is that the Kohen would grab the bird, and with his thumb, on his thumb he had a long nail. He would grow a long nail on his thumb, and he would insert his thumbnail into the back of the neck of the bird and cut the windpipe and the food pipe from the back, and it wouldn't go all the way through. Just in some of the offerings, but anyway, but if you do that in a regular bird, when you slaughter it, such as a chicken or a turkey or something like that, you slaughter it. If you break the neck, if you go through the spinal cord first, then that bird is unkosher. So in other words, what is kosher outside slaughtering a bird is not kosher in the Holy Temple. If it's done that way in the Holy Temple, it's no good. It has to be malika. But if you do malika outside of the temple, then that's no good. So what's kosher, the means of slaughtering outside of the temple, if it's done inside, it's no good. And the means of slaughtering inside the temple, namely from the back of the neck, if you do it outward, it's no good. So that's why he says they should not eat nevelas and treifas, because it's permissible to them to do malika. So it's telling that therefore in the Holy Temple they can eat it, but they cannot do that outside. This is nothing new in the book of Yechezkel, because this is also in the Torah. It also says by the Kohen, this is nevela v'treifah, they can't eat it, like the Rambam says in the book of the Commandments. So it means to say that they should not eat anything that seems to be not kosher. Like, for instance, if an animal is just about to die, it's permissible to slaughter it. If it's just about to die, if you slaughter it before it dies on its own, and you check it, and you see there's no blemishes on the lungs or whatever, right, then it's permissible to eat it. But the custom is that rabbis, and in this case, the Cohanim, they were the leaders, they should not eat an animal. It's called mesukenes. They have to be very careful about this, and especially in the future, because this is talking about, some opinions say that this is talking about the third temple. Now, there was a nice, no, it's not here. There was a nice Malbim over here that I saw before, and I wonder where that is, how I missed it this time. All right. All right, this is talking about, here he says, here he brings the idea that some people say this is talking about the first temple, and some people say this is talking about the second temple, that they have to bring, it says they have to bring a new offering. It says the day when they came into the Holy Temple, that the first day they worked, they should bring a new offering. So some people are talking about the first temple. Some people say it's the second temple. And also Yechezkel, he said, don't worry about it. Yechezkel, he promises that there's going to be a third temple, but by Gimel, the third temple, and with it there will be Cohanim also, and there will be then also there will be Cohanim that are going to raise up from the dead, just like the third temple will be built anew. So there'll be all the Cohanim that served in the first and the second temples will raise up for the dead, and they will, even though that they offered up this offering when they served previously in the temple before they died, but when they come to life and serve in the third temple, they're going to have to make a new sacrifice. There'll be, so to speak, renewed life. That says the Malbim. And that is this week's HafTorah. So now you'll know what's going on when they say HafTorah this week. Now we'll learn Pirkei Avot. Pirkei Avot. All right, turn this off. Here we go.